So the No Kings protest is this Saturday. And if you look it up, it's quite the website. And I searched the entire website for words like peaceful and lawful and no violence. I could not find it anywhere. And they make it really easy to go to their toolkit. They also make it really easy to find out where all these events are. That gives us, basically a blow-by-blow thing of how to run your own mini riot.
Oh.
Now here they have this. A core principle behind No Kings is a commitment to non-violent action. We expect all our participants to seek to de-escalate and any potential confrontation with those who disagree with our values. Yeah, right. Like, we know it's the same people that are going to be out for this No Kings thing that were out for Free Palestine, that were out at Columbia, that were out at BLM, that were out at the St. Floyd riots. It is literally the same people. And I don't understand why I'll go to Hannah Clara, then Melonie. Why is our government not dismantling what is very clearly, at least in my opinion, some sort of, network of domestic terror?
I mean, I think it's hard because you'd be wary to break up anyone from demonstrating because of the First Amendment. On the other hand, it's weird that we can label anyone on the right that we don't agree with domestic terrorists, but it doesn't apply to people on the left. Never mind the fact that, especially in the 70s, environmentalists were the leading cause of domestic terrorism. This statement is interesting to me because, to me, it seems to imply you're allowed to harass law enforcement or anyone who doesn't agree with you. But if any of your fellow participants escalate anything, that's not your responsibility. It's like the effort to maintain peace is only on one side. I don't know. You asked earlier, this seems different than in 2016 or the first term of Donald Trump. And I tend to agree with that because people saw the fallout of that summer following George Floyd's death and how many businesses suffered and kind of the overall explosive or detrimental impact it had on American morale. And so even though you're getting, CNN and you're getting local people saying, you can't send in the National Guard, you can't send in Marines, I think most Americans are like, this is out of control and it's better to intervene early. I don't think the hysteria over Trump is brutal for doing this is sticking the way it did in the past. And so I don't know if they'll have to break this up as like domestic terrorists as they become more organized. Right now, it seems like a rapidly evolving situation, but they're not technically labeled domestic terrorists. So they have a certain amount of legal protection.
Yeah, well, aren't they though? Because the question is, who is it? Right? Like, I would argue that the same people that are organizing Antifa's direct actions are the same people that are organizing this.
Right.
And Antifa is designated as such, aren't they? I think.
I'll double check. I mean, they are considered a threat, but it seems like often when Antifa sets up camp somewhere, you kind of have to tolerate or deal with them. I mean, didn't part of Georgia have to deal with this for a long time, and part
with
of
the
Portland,
Cop City thing? Yeah,
right. Like they're there, and people know that they're destructive, but at the same time, for some reason, they're not just like cleared out. They're weirdly tolerated.
Yeah, well, don't you? If you're a conspiracy theorist, like Melonie is, and I am a little bit. I think it's easy to think that there are certain powers that be that are just letting this happen.
That's true, and I can't help but question that to a degree, because it's like, okay, this isn't stopping. They're not actually making this stop yet. And obviously, I'm a big fan of Donald Trump, but there's only, I do believe that there's still limitations placed upon him by whoever it be that are really holding the puppet strings here. So I can't help but question it. How do we not know that those masks even that they're handing out, that wasn't prepared by, somebody who organized this whole thing?
Right. I mean,
who buys thousands of dollars of masks? Yeah,
right.
There's the shrink wrap pallets of bricks that were placed the night before.
Exactly.
A truckload of those masks plus gas masks. I don't know how. I didn't see a picture of the gas masks, so I don't know how high end they were, but I mean, you had, I don't know, $1,000 plus maybe $2,000 in merchandise. just handed out. Who is that person? Who bought those masks? Now, is it a crime to hand out masks? No. But my question is, like, is that the same person that bought a pallet of bricks? Is that the same organ? Like, somebody paid for those, and it wasn't an LA resident. It was probably some NGO or, government funded organization. And I feel like states like California benefit from always allowing California, Washington, Oregon, they benefit from allowing these people to hold their citizens hostage. And it's really bizarre that the people of LA, the actual people, haven't said, like, enough. Like, could you imagine having a $600,000 home in Seattle, which would be like a median priced home in downtown of a big city, and like the city just lets bums and drug addicts sleep on your lawn? Like, these people, I mean, I guess what they just do is what most people do, and they just leave. Now, I suppose that's probably what the people with money, just like when a business does an unpopular thing, most of your customers don't say, hey, I'm really upset by this. Or when, like, somebody doesn't like a video I put out, they generally don't do I'm in an airport, so I'm telling you I'm unsubscribing. They just unsubscribe and move on.
Right.
At what point do you think, is there a point where these people have had enough of this? Or are they just held hostage?
I mean, so many of the wealthy people in LA or in the LA area have either, gated communities or their own private security. So there are steps taken that sort of aren't acknowledged. It's sort of the middle class of LA that gets caught in, who pays for this kind of thing, right? They're not affluent enough to have the privileges of just leaving for the weekend or having personal security guards. On the other hand, they are not the people that basically Gavin Newsom will hold up as deserving sympathy, and so they're lost in the shuffle. I think you talked a little about like homeless people and drug addicts, and this is where you can kind of draw the comparison to San Francisco, because there were tons of people who became frustrated with the like drug safe zones, and they were saying, like, I own this house here, I'm a citizen, like, you're not fixing this problem. People are still homeless. They're still addicted to drugs, but now they're all congregating. And in fact, it's drawing more people in and crime is getting worse. And I'm frustrated with this. But again, until they change their local politics, it doesn't seem like they're going to get much more than an occasional press release voicing their frustrations.
And what's going on with Kash Patel? Because didn't he just make a tweet the other day saying, like, hey, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you that we're going to intervene. And has anything happened? Has he even done anything?
I think part
He's
of the
in a rough
problem,
spot, that guy.
Yeah.
Boy, he can't do anything right. I think part of the problem is, like, unless they got the brick thrower guy, the FBI caught him and raided his house. But the problem is, like, the FBI can't just arrest people for trespassing. So they can come in and be there and talk big, but states still have rights. And so, like, the federal government has a very limited, essentially the National Guard can't, is how I understand it, they can't even really do anything. All they can do is, quote unquote, protect the federal agents that are there. So the National Guard can't bust heads. They can't do crowd control. They're just there to, be a show of force, I suspect. And so all these people, the FBI as many FBI people as they want can go in there, but they're getting charged with nothing. They're getting a failure to disperse ticket, $45. And then some, woke NGO or whatever is paying those tickets, and they're right back out on the road, right back in the streets that night. It's bonkers.
Yeah. Well, and there's some conflict over what the LAPD is doing, right? Like, if the National Guard is there to support federal agents, hypothetically, you would also want someone there to support the local law enforcement. But if the local law enforcement is doing stuff like the LAPD that's putting out statements being like, the protests remain mostly peaceful, like, we're just working through this, thanks for those of you who are cooperating, where does any of the enforcement come from? Because it seems like on all fronts, their hands are tied, either because of like political reasons or because of legal jurisdictional reasons.
Yeah, well, here are all the partners: Bernie Sanders, the ACLU. These are all government. These are all government nonprofits. That's who all these people are. Center for Biological Diversity, Catholics Vote Common Good, Blue Wave America, Blue Anchor, Climate Defenders. Look at all these people. The Human Rights Campaign, which I thought was shut down. Didn't Elon Musk basically like get them shut down? Because
I think they take some private donations. Like some of the things are crippled when they lose their several $1 million from the federal government, but they still can exist outside of it.
Oh, okay.
Is my understanding.
Yeah. Am I thinking of the right thing? I thought like the Human Rights Foundation. Oh no, that I'm wrong. That's Robbie Starbuck got all these companies to stop partnering with them.
Yeah.
But like I'm sure they have plenty of money. So, you don't see a lot of here you have
the city the
CUNYs here. Yeah.
Pride at work.
Yeah, I mean, Stop the Money Pipeline. These are all leftists.
The Sierra Club is sponsoring this.
Yeah, Sierra Club.
Issue.
Yeah, environmental.
I thought you guys were for like saving endangered species.
That makes sense.
Nothing's better than nothing better for the environment than burning toxic electric car batteries and having that, all that smoke going to the air. So
that'll save all the endangered North American species for sure.